Welcome back to game number 2 of Week 4 of the After Hours Gaming League. We are here in our match between Epic and Storm8. We're going to have another TVZ here. This one's going to be on AHGL Wastes, and we'll have a look at who these players are, what we expect from them, and then of course, if you stick around a little bit, I'll have a Heart of the Swarm beta key to throw out there to some of you guys. I'll be reading it out. I won't be printing it on the screen because I sort of can't be bothered adding it in as an annotation or something like that. But anyway, starting up at the top left-hand side, here is our blue Terran player for Storm8. He's going to look to try and bring a game back here today. His name is Terran. There you go. His opponent down at the bottom right-hand side is our red Zerg player, playing for Team Epic, and I'll look to try and take it up to maybe a 2-0. We'll see if he is able to do that. It is Crabtastic. And, well, AHGL Wastes, a very interesting map. Of course, you may have started to see this one in GSL and some of the other leagues. Of course, you got a very quick and easy to take natural base there for a Zerg player. There is quite a sizable ramp here, of course, and then there is also a backdoor rocks that you have to sort of be careful of. But this can lead to an expansion that's relatively easy to take just down here, because this sort of differs to the one in Wings of Liberty, because there is this destructible rock tower here that, with only 500 hit points, it'll drop down some destructible rocks just down here, blocking off this entire path, at least until the destructible rocks have been destroyed. The other alternative, of course, as a Zerg player, is to look to try and take this base. So there are a couple of options when it comes to expanding as a Zerg player, and we'll see how Crabtastic is going to do that. Meanwhile, for his opponent, of course, our Terran player, Terran, it's Inception, that's what's going on up here, is actually going to go for a very quick expansion. He's gone for CC first, which is something I don't really expect most players to do on this map. Just partly because there is such a wide ramp that you have to wall off. And I mean, if you go CC first, of course that delays your barracks. It means that your any sorts of defensive units right at the start do come at a little bit of a delay. And as we can see there, the barracks has only just gotten started. So we'll have to see how Terran utilizes this particular play. Of course, this does lead to a very strong mid game, and then of course you can get to some of your late game higher tech a little bit quicker because your economy has started off on a very good foot. But what I would expect from Crabtastic perhaps is either his own very quick expansion down to one of the third bases, or perhaps some sort of early to mid-game attack. So we'll keep an eye on what he is up to at the moment. Meanwhile, for that beta key, hope you've got your pen ready because I'm only going to read it out once, alright? So we will, hang on, let me just chuck it into the view of one of the players for just a second. Alright, so the key, ready? I'm going to read it out the phonetic way, alright? We have got Victor, Foxtrot, 8, Victor, Kilo, Delta, Dash, 7, X-Ray, Foxtrot, X-Ray, Dash, Papa, Tango, Juliet, Niner, Mike, Zulu, Dash, Whiskey, Tango, Charlie, Kilo, Dash, Victor, Tango, 4, Papa, 7, 8. Alright, so I'm not going to read that out again. You guys can either just rewind the video or hopefully if you wrote that down yourself while we were going along, you'd be able to catch that one very quickly. So there's a Heart of the Swarm beta key for you if you haven't been able to play it just as of yet, or you haven't been lucky enough to grab a key. There will be another key, perhaps later on in this game, maybe in the next game, or, we'll see. If we get to a game number 4 and 5, perhaps there'll be one in there as well. But, yeah. Hopefully you guys like that. Meanwhile, our players, as we saw before, we've got Terran going up to double gas at his main base. Of course, no tech just as of yet. As we said, everything comes a little bit later with the CC first. So we will see him finally throw down the factory. It looks as if Crabtastic has grabbed his own third base. Just on the players, by the way, I forgot to mention, Crabtastic is a Masters level Zerg player, and Terran is around about a Diamond player, I believe. I think it was something around that. So I'm not sure of the exact spots in their leagues for each of these players. Of course, there is a very big difference itself in Masters between, low, mid, and then high Masters. And then, of course, there's a bit of a difference between Diamond and Masters itself. So it is important to keep that in mind while we're watching this game. So we'll see if Terran is able to put on perhaps a little bit of an upset. does have a starting build opening up with a double factory. Of course, we're going to see a reactor going on as well, and a reactor also on the barracks, the first barracks that has been built, and now we've got a starport and a second rack. So this could be, there's a couple of options that this can lead into. Of course, with the with both of the factories now going for reactors, we could see the option of some very quick Hellions, perhaps even Hellbats if we see an armory get thrown down. We can also see an option of very quick combat shields, and then something that I have seen people complaining about a little bit in Heart of the Swarm, well, perhaps not complain, just sort of, you know, a little bit of outrage perhaps, is a combat shields and Hellbat based build against Zerg players. But it looks as if Crabtastic is going to have his own little counter coming across the map. Not a huge amount, but it is certainly a few roaches and a few lings that are now marching their way across. Terran only prepared with a bunker with 4 Marines and 1 outside. A Marauder is now just finally coming across to try and help out. A few roaches at the front, going to have a little bit of a poke here. 8 roaches in total, along with the slowlings on the ground. No speed on the way for either of these units, so things could get a little bit messy. The first Hellions that have come out here for Terran, good job at getting rid of those lings very well, and I think this is not going to go too well for Crabtastic. He is trying to come across and get some damage done on the SCVs as well as that bunker, but I mean, there is just way too much here for him to try and actually get any damage done, so we'll probably see him perhaps do a little bit of a run by in towards the natural base there, but I mean, it's not going to get a massive amount of kills here, but it is a little bit of pressure. In fact, we got 12 worker kills in total, so I mean, that's a sizable amount if you're playing against a person who has gone for CC first, because he's going to be wanting to have a very strong economy. And as we can see, the fact of the matter is he was up at around about almost 40 workers there, keeping up with the Zerg player, but with that attack he's actually done a very good job. So Crabtastic has opened up quite nicely in this game for the moment, but as we mentioned before, we get a lot of tech coming along for our Terran player. He's now got the stim being researched right now. Of course, we have a lot of Hellions being brought out as well. There is an armory that is finished up as well, so he's also able to get out those Hellbats. So we'll see if he is going to go for some sort of the bio push that I mentioned. It's not going to be exactly the same. Of course, we will have concussive shells and stim pack being researched right now. Looks as if he is going to start going for that attack, rallying out his production buildings towards his opponent's base. Meanwhile, for Crabtastic, of course, the problem with this third base is that there is virtually no easy way to defend it unless you've got some beautiful creep spread. And for the moment, Crabtastic has virtually got no creep spread because the Queens have not been out on the map. So as we can see, just a very simple attack path to run straight in here. Perhaps if there was some creep coming out along, you know, along this sort of area, he might be able to defend it. But I mean, this is going to be very difficult, along with the medevacs up in the sky that'll be able to heal/repair the Hellbats here. I think that Crabtastic could be in a little bit of danger here. Of course, that very early attack set him back a little bit in his economy, not to mention he has gone for this very quick spire. In fact, I'm not even sure where it is. It's up the back, there it is, and the drones, fearing for their lives, have run towards the back of the mineral line there, and they are still trying to bust their way out, but going to get burnt alive by all of those Hellbats, and it looks as if Terran is going to do a fantastic job here, but of course the question is, will he be able to deal with these Mutalisks? It looks like he has dealt with them for the most part. Most of the Mutalisks are being cut down by the few Marines that are on the ground, and while there are still a couple of mutas up in the sky, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. It looks like the spire is going to be burnt up as well. The mutas now sweeping across, trying to get some damage done on those Marines, but with stim and the medevacs up in the air, it looks like the few Mutalisks that are alive are not able to clean out the Marines just yet. 1 Marine is left, and that is it. Alright, so the remaining air defense of our Terran player, Terran, has been reduced to nothing now, and as we can see, not afraid, is just going to move inside the main base. We've got a lot of tech here, of course, a lot of drones. If he can split up those Hellbats and get a good attack path, he might be able to just roast every single drone here, and the fact that he may not be able to finish the game here, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, but the Mutalisks, of course, with only 3 mutas up in the air, he's not really going to be able to do too much, and it looks like some Lings going to try and counter these Marines from coming back inside. Hellions now making their way across the map to try and join up with the rest of them, but inside the main, of course, as we mentioned in the previous game, Hellbats do 18 damage with their napalm spray, so they're able to still do a lot of damage even against these strong sort of buildings that are here from our Zerg player, and the lair does go down. Behind all of this, Terran looking to expand to his third, but not able to at the moment due to some nice creep spread by that Overlord. But the fact of the matter is, so much damage has been done. Just looking at the worker count, 34 kills in total for Terran. He has done a fantastic job. The issue now is, will he be able to just quickly follow it up and crush his opponent before he's able to get too many more extra units out, or perhaps re-establish his economy. So we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, the worker count right now, 14 drones for Crabtastic. He's not going to be happy about this situation at all. It is going to be very difficult for him to come back. Of course, back at home for Terran, continuing to produce a lot of units. We've now got Marauders starting to come out. We'll probably need a little bit of air defense. I'm not sure about the Marauder production right now, but the Mutas have come along. With a bit of Muta Micro, he may be able to get some damage done, but no, say the turrets at the back there. So no mineral line damage is going to be done by Crabtastic with these few Marines, with the few Mutalisks that he has. A couple of Marines do come across to try and help out with the defense, but nice micro there, pulling back some of the Mutas. Very nicely done by Crabtastic. And these Marauders and the Hellbats are just sort of stuck to sit here and, you know, not really do too much. Maybe you should tip the Marauders over, then they'll be able to shoot up, or something like that. That'd be a cool idea. But I thought there was a drop coming in. But Crabtastic back at home, still trying to get his two hatches back into action here. Of course, he lost his lair, so he's also lost a little bit of his tech, but he was able to rebuild a spire at his third base, so that's why he is able to get out a couple more of these the air terrors up in the sky, the prawns with wings, perhaps, if you wanted to look at it that way. And with the natural now re-established, we've also got the main also back in action. Will the creep be able to get across to save some of these buildings? I tell you what, if Crabtastic loses the Bailey Nest and the Roach Warren, that's not going to be good for him at all, especially with this impending attack that is now coming across the map from Terran. He's got Hellbats, he's got Marauders, he's also got a few Marines thrown in for good measure as well. There are no real upgrades on any of these units, of course, because he's just invested in these heavy attacks that have just come in at these very nice timings. But we'll see. Will he be able to deal with the Banelings that are here as well? Good splits, pulling the Marines out to the back. Nicely done with that. And it looks as if with the Marines staying alive, there is no way that Crabtastic is going to be able to defend against this, with the Hellbat providing some good anti-Ling force there. The Marauders also doing a good job. The Marines are getting cut down slowly but surely, but the Mutalisks are forced back. There's only 3 of them left over. There are 3 in production, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. It looks as if with more Marines and Marauders and Hellbats streaming across the map now, with more economic damage done, Crabtastic is going to be put in a very tough position to come back from, and dare I say the game probably will be over, but we'll see. You know, stranger things have happened. Of course, ST losing to Noble S in GSL when he was in this sort of position that Terran is in. But I mean, the Mutas, they have climbed back to a total of 6, able to clean up most of those units that aren't anti-air, and it looks as if with a beautiful pickup here, throwing down that Ignite Afterburners on the Medivacs, he's able to get out of there, and will be able to drop inside the main base, and this is going to do quite a lot of damage regardless of the Mutalisks. And now, with the Medivacs able to heal up the Marines, the few remaining Mutas are not really getting too much damage done. The Hellbats are just walking across, not really afraid of those Mutas at all, and they are able to clean out just a few of the Lings that are left over. And I think this is going to be the end of Crabtastic. He's now lost his hatchery yet again. His opponent is up to 3 bases, sitting on 39 Harvesters, and with the excellent production that Terran has, this is all going to be done and dusted in just a moment, and we will see the scores even up, and that means that Storm8 is going to be at 1-1, doing a beautiful job coming back in this game. Of course, as we said, a Diamond player taking care of a Masters player, so, you know, never be afraid to play against those people who might be in a higher league than you, because you may be able to pull something out. And with some good timings and some good play, we see a player here, Terran, able to take care of his Zerg opponent. The few Mutalisks still up in the sky, not able to do much, not able to save the hatch, and that will be that. So we'll go into game number 3 in just a moment. Stick around, there might be a few more Heart of the Storm keys to jump on, and I'll see you in that game in just a moment.